characters that I've written, characters who have disabilities, it's in children's television, which I think is actually a very important place for audiences to see characters with disabilities. So the research that I've done tends to be, a lot of it has to do with, in terms of pitching these characters and getting them, sort of accepted into the storylines. I'm really going for, representation, that there's someone there who has some kind of recognizable disability, so that the research I do, I have had to, I have a friend who's a scholar in disability studies, and I often tap him. But a lot of it is just basically depicting children who are playing, children who may be differently abled, but who have senses of humor and who get pissed off and who want to have an adventure, and that's really my focus. So when there are questions of ability, then obviously I will call Kenny and say, can you help me out with this? But a lot of times it's really you're trying to not focus on the differences as you are trying to focus on the commonality of the characters, and not saying that these kids are really different. It's obviously they may have different abilities in some ways, but they're part of your group. They're part of the characters of the show.
Does the impetus to include characters with disabilities in children's television come primarily from you as a writer, or is this something that the producers of the shows, you've done many, but are producers seeking this, or you find yourself introducing it?
I've never been asked to do this. It's something I have to pitch, and it tends to be, sometimes it's not a bad argument, but it tends to be a little bit of a, and also there's a lot of like, oh, if we get it wrong, I said, well, I don't think we will. We can, we do a lot of things, and we can work so that it won't be wrong. We can really try not to, but it's, I've had, I did one episode of an animated series for Disney. There was an art teacher who is blind, and she has, she works in sculpture, so she does a lot of things by touch. And they were very like, whoa, that's kind of weird. It's an art teacher and she's blind. I said, look, she's doing this. It's about, touch, which is extremely appropriate for a preschool audience. And the idea of like saying, okay, we're going to make something by touch. We're going to use clay. We're going to use beads. That's something any child can understand. So, it's all. I also I write books for children with my husband Lawrence. We've done we did a graphic novel in which one of the characters has a cognitive, I'm sorry, not cognitive defect. He's got he needs to wear a corrective shoe, and he's one of the heroes, and that was, in publishing it's a little different, but in television there's a lot of group input, so